Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online PTS test video with me, Sherman. Today guys, I'm going to be showing you the new Sorcerer test I'm doing. This time I'm doing a in-game build type test where I'm using in-game like trial sets with other things to give me a greater advantage on my DPS and everything, just to see what kind of damage parses I can pull. I'm just doing this as a test. Please understand, this is not a build I will release. If you want me to release this build, I gotta see more from you guys on that, and if that's the case, then we'll do it. So I have done a couple parse tests already, just to show you guys this is what it looks like without any food or drinks when I parse test. So I'm getting 24, roughly 24k to 22k, and this is on a Breton Sorcerer, 64 into Magicka. I have 34k Magicka, 13k health, 11k stamina, 1,175 magic recovery. This is without food. 2293 spell damage, 55% spell critical, 14,000 spell resist with a 13,000 physical resist. I do need to adjust that real quick because it shouldn't be that way. So let me go ahead and redo this. It should be higher in the physical side, so we'll see if this helps. Yes, that does. It puts it a little bit better. Bretons get a higher spell resist into their race passive, so compensating gives you a better outcome in the end. So moving on down here, we do have Minor Slayer at all times because of one of the sets we're using. We do have the Thief Mundustone, and we are using Major Prophecy from Inner Light. Again, I do not have food, so we are going to activate a food here. Let me go ahead and close out this stupid chat box, otherwise it's going to drive me crazy. So let's go ahead and get food up. We are going to use the Witch Mother's Potent Brew first. Here we go. We go to 16k health, 38k max Magicka. I'm missing something here, guys. I gotta go check. I think I didn't change my jewelry. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Let me go ahead and change that, because I'm going to set this to how I would play, not how people play the meta. Otherwise, this would be right up the meta alley right here. So, let me go ahead and change this to what I need, Bloodthirsty. And we're going to change these two to Trireme, because this is how I would personally play the build. Alright, so now that I've done that, we have 36k max Magicka, 18k health, which is more in line with what I want, 12k max stamina. This is running Witch Mother's Potent Brew, 1635 mag recovery, 2293 spell damage. So let's go ahead and do a quick parse. Now, I will show you the sets after I do the parse. But let's go ahead and do a quick parse so we can see what kind of damage this gets. Now we are going to do this, the first parse without a potion. We'll do the second parse with a potion. So, let me go ahead and make sure I'm on the right bar here. No, I am not. I need to switch. Oops. So 26k DPS. So with food, I went up roughly 2k in DPS from the first one. A little bit more. We're gonna use a potion this time and see how much more I get. So here we go with a potion. Now I know a lot of people say that this isn't accurate testing. This is just to give me a general idea of what my DPS would look like. And 30k DPS. So 30k DPS this time. Okay. Now let me go ahead and show you my equipment. First, go over our stats again. 36k, 18, 12, 1859 with the potion, 2734 spell damage, 61% spell critical, 14, 13. You guys know the rest. Witch Mother's Potent Brew. Now moving on to the equipment, I'm using Alhambris as my monster set, Reinforced Helm, Tri-Stance, Lumber's does the max magic on the 1-piece, 2-piece. When you deal flame or shock damage, you get a 10% chance to summon a meteor shower that deals X amount of damage to all enemies within 4 meters every second for 5 seconds. Can happen every 8 seconds. So I've got the head and shoulders, both medium and heavy here. The small pieces are all divines with a max magic enchant, as you guys can see. And then on the chest and the leggings, I am using Invigorating with a Tri-Stat enchant on both of these, and this is so I can get a little bit more in my mag recovery, so I have a little bit better in that when I'm playing the character, so I get more recovery effect. Now, I can play with this infused as well, but let's go ahead and look at the rest of the gear set here. So the other set we're running is Willpower. Now, this is a set that drops from dungeons. As you can see, the 2-piece adds max magic of 1451. The 3-piece adds 193 spell damage when it's golded out. I have 2 Tri-Rune rings with spell damage enchants, and then I have a Bloodthirsty necklace with a mag recovery. Onto the weapons, I'm using a Nirnhoned Asylum Perfected Lightning Staff on the front bar. Every second cast of Force Shock will apply Burning, Concussed, and Shield status effects. The Force Shock cast must be made within 10 seconds of each other for the effect to occur. On the back bar, I'm using a Maelstrom Lightning Staff. The 2-piece bonus of this, your light and heavy attacks deal additional damage to enemies in your wall of elements. So when I swap to this, I get that benefit of the light and heavy attacks. When I swap to this one, I get the benefits of the Force Shock. So, now that you guys see what sets I'm using and the traits and enchants, on the staff, by the way, I am using a Shock enchant, and I'm using an infused staff on the back bar with a weapon damage enchant. Going over my skills real quick, on the front bar, I'm using Force Pulse. This, as you can see, does a decent amount of damage up front. Up to 2 nearby enemies will take additional magic damage if they were already afflicted with Burning, Chilled, and Concussed. Crystal Frags, this just does a lot of damage and has a chance of proccing at a reduced cost. Then I have the Shock Reach, which, as you can see, costs me 17.99 Magicka. I am a Breton. Now, the reason I chose the Breton is because they do get the reduced cost in Magicka. So, as you can see, my cost reduction of my abilities is really good. Then I have Mage's Wrath for an Execute, and I didn't even use it. As my ultimate, I have Thunderous Rage, and then on the back bar, I have Blockade of Storms, Liquid Lightning, Shock Ring, Boundless Storms, and then I have Inner Light to boost my max magic and give me major prophecies. You guys know the routine here. And then I have Greater Storm Atronach as my ultimate. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do this parse again with the potion, so we can get a number of different test results. And I just did Crystal Frags like an idiot. Alright, so we got 24,000 DPS that time. I'm going to do a couple parses so we can get a a number of results to do in comparison, and then we're going to go to the big guy. We're going to do a couple parses there, or do a parse there to see what our results are on that one, because we're going to use ultimates with that one. So let me do this one more time so we can get some comparatives. Okay, so we got 30k DPS that time. So let's go ahead and look at our results here. We're going to go over this. So we have 3,294 spell damage without anything other than potions and stuff. We have 61% critical, 70% critical damage, and 4k spell penetration. If you look at our abilities down here, our Crystal Frags was hitting for around 28k, light attacks were hitting for about 12k, Liquid Lightning was ticking for 37 on a max average of 27. Mage's Wrath was hitting pretty decently there, and we got one a cast of it. Then we had our Blockade of Storms, and this is what it was garnering in damage over time. Boundless Storms, Shock Ring, Charged Weapon, Enchant, Alambris, Shock Reach, damage over time, and then it's damage up front. The Force Pulse wasn't doing too bad. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the other one. We're going to do a parse test on the big guy. This is going to give us every buff we can possibly need from a group dynamic. So our damage will increase by quite a bit. So Potion, Boundless Storms, we're going to do the whole same process here. And we actually have synergies now, so I'm going to go ahead and summon my, and I screwed up there. You guys noticed my DPS drop off there for a minute, and that was because I lost my potions. We'll use Elemental Rage this time for our ultimate. Oh, Jesus. Ah. Alright, I figured getting it down to 55% was good enough. So we're going to walk away, we're going to let it run its course, do its thing. Once we come out of combat, I will look at the parse results, and we can go over that just by looking at it. So, alright, here we go, guys. So looking at the parse results on this one, as you can see, we go to almost 4k spell damage, 61% spell crit, 70% critical damage. And then it shows this penetration value, but honestly, it shows us with 100%. And that's because we do get 100% penetration value on this target dummy. So as you can see, our light attacks were doing a lot more damage, our crystal frags were doing more damage, our liquid lightning was actually doing a heck of a lot more damage. Blockade of Storms was doing better damage, Zap was doing better damage from the Atronach. Shock Reach was actually doing really good damage over time, and it's ticking of damage. And then our other abilities were doing really good. Concussed. Alhambris was doing okay, but it doesn't crit, so it just does its damage over time. Then we had our Shock Ring, which you can see was actually hitting for a lot more damage. Our Shock Reach up front was doing more damage. Thunderous Rage did a decent amount of damage at max and every tick. And then our Crystal Frags, again, was hitting pretty good. This is the base cast of Crystal Frags, and that's because I casted it twice. Without the benefit of the proc thing. Then we had our Greater Storm Atronach when it was summoned in, chilled and bash, all that stuff. So yeah, not too bad, I don't think. I mean, 40k DPS with a more of what I consider an in-game build isn't bad. Now, somebody with the proper playstyle that could play this build a lot better could probably pull greater DPS. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change out some of the abilities to test this more with a pet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with Daedric Summoning. We are going to grab the Twilight Tormentor. We're going to put that there. We're going to get rid of Crystal Frags. We're going to move this over. And we're going to also grab our Summon Twilight. And we're going to do this on both bars. We're just going to get rid of 2 of these abilities and put the Twilight Tormentor and the Summon Volatile Familiar so we can test the parsing with them. Right, so let's go down here. We're going to go ahead and drink our potion. So we did 31k DPS. That's 10k more of than what we did the last time, without pets. So let's go ahead and take a look at the results here. 3294 spell damage, 55% spell critical, 70% spell critical damage, and then the 4k thing there. Let's see what our pets were actually doing. So the zap from the bird thing was doing roughly about 4k or so. The Entropic Touch was doing okay. And these are the damage abilities of the pets. Now, I didn't even activate their abilities, but we're going to go ahead and parse on the big guy, and this way we can see what their damage is going to be like. Now, remember, this guy's already at partial health. He's almost down to 50% health, so I can only activate the Tormentor for 5% of the damage. So, again, potion. I wanted to make sure I got the potion up that time. I can't activate the other thing's ability now because it doesn't work as well. Because it loses a lot of its DPS when you activate it on the aftermath. So when the enemy's below 50% health, the Tormentor does. So But there you guys go. We are staying at a steady 46 per K DPS roughly. A little bit less. I'm going to have to go ahead and desummon my pets to get this stuff to turn off. So let me go ahead and do that. And we will get out of combat and we will check over the parse of what we were getting there with them. So left combat, opening up the thing. We were at 4K almost spell damage again, 61% spell critical. You guys get the idea here. Light attacks weren't doing too bad. Our Atronach's zap was doing pretty decent. Liquid lightning. The zap from the one thing was actually doing a lot more damage now. And the entropic touch from the other was doing more. The other ones, the volatile pulse was actually doing a decent amount of damage there. And I'm going to see if I can find the... I'm not seeing the other one's effects because it's not showing up here. But there was another attack that the bird thing does that adds to your DPS and everything. But that's why we were staying at a higher rate of DPS, is because our pets are actually pulling a decent amount of DPS. Not super high, but pretty decent. And like I said, this is more of what I would play if I was going to play at the in-game trial scene. I know a lot of people are gonna question again, because why are you using Alhambris? Why are you using the willpower set along with the false gods? By the way, that's what I was using, which reduces your cost of your magic abilities by another 8%. And whenever you kill an enemy, you restore X amount of magic and gain major expedition for 8 seconds. That's what I was using because I wanted that minor slayer. So a better setup for this would be Infallible Aether. Which is another light armor trial set, or in what they call the Infallible Mage set. And the reason I say that one would be better is because this will give you two things: a spell crit, spell damage, and minor slayer. Plus, it gives you your fully charged heavy attacks deal an additional amount of damage. Enemies you've damaged with fully charged heavy attacks are afflicted with minor vulnerability for 10 seconds, increasing their damage taken by 8%. That would be a lot better with your pets. So I think that would be a better combination there. Another one that you could do is the Master Architect. When you use an ultimate ability and you are ability, you and the two closest enemies within 20 meters gain Major Slayer for 10 seconds, increasing your damage done against trial and dungeon mobs by that. You could use this with Julianus, and that would work really good. Or you could even use Caloran's Legacy, or you could use Wise Mage with this, because Wise Mage is another set that drops inside of trials. It's very similar to what we already have, the 2 spell crit and the spell damage. The reason I would use Julianus is for the extra max magicka though, and that would apply to you better with the combination of the Master Architect. Another one you could use is Inventor's, or not Inventor's Guard, Twilight, is it Moon Dancers? Moon Dancers would be a good one you could use in combination with Julianus. Scoria would be one you could use in combination with Julianus, which would be really good, because it would give you that high spell crit, spell damage, max magicka stuff. That would be a good combination, and this one would give you the 10 stacks while you're standing in the fire stuff. Another good one you could use is Olorum. You can use this on a magicka DPS character, but it does give you Aegis. This would go very good with the set we're already using, because our AoEs would also give us give our group that higher spell damage stuff. And then the Eye of Naventus is another one that you can use in combination, or the Perfected Eye is another one you can use in combination with the set we're using, not the set we're using, yeah, the set we're using now. So, but yeah, those are just my suggestions of things that you could do, and I just wanted to show you guys the test results of this build so you guys can see for yourselves that a lot of the builds that I make, no matter what they are, they do within comparable damage, usually within 5 to 10k in damage depending on the build and depending on the class. So I can usually keep most of my class build structures within 5 to 10k no matter what I'm building with, whether I'm building with overland sets and crafted sets, or dungeon sets and crafted sets, or crafted sets and trial sets, or any of that stuff, I can always keep within a comparable margin with my DPS. Usually I can get around 50, like I can get to 55, 60k DPS with some builds, but that's few and far between, and it really depends on the build, and it really depends on how well I can do the rotation. That's with my type of builds, okay? That's not playing the meta, that is playing my type of builds, which all have good sustain and all work out really well. Now the other thing I wanted to show you guys is this build running Tri-Stat Food. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to summon our pets. We're going to do a quick parse. Again, on this guy. And this time I'm actually going to use my pets. So 32,000 DPS. Again, very similar to what I pulled before, but we're going to do one more. And this one, I'm going to be a little bit more prepared for. So let me go ahead and wait for this potion to wear off. All right, activating. Here we go. And we are using the pets this time, because I want you guys to see, like, I get a comparable damage, 32k, 33k, as you can see here, 33, 32, and that was even used in the pet's special abilities with that. So, using potions and everything. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to do it on the big guy. Then I'm going to stop on the big guy. I'm only going to do this until I get him down probably to 25, 30k. 30% or 25% to 22% health, and then I'm going to swap again back to the old skills I was using, and we're going to do that. We're going to finish the big guy and the little guy. So and this time I wanted to use that elemental rage. I wanted to see how well that helped improve our DPS. So come on, where's my wall of elements? Thank you. Alright, now that I've got him down that far, I'm actually going to stop because I didn't realize I went past what I said I would. Alright. Now I'm going to change my skills back while that's going on. Looks like I have somebody trying to talk to me, which is an abnormal thing here. So let me go ahead and put this back here, and this one we're going to put back on the front bar. That was right there, and then I need to grab my dark magic ability, crystal fragments, and put it here, move that over, swap bars again, and I need to go back to my destruction staff. Now I know a lot of people will say not many people play this way, and you're right, not a lot of people do, and that's kind of the point. Not a lot of people play with different different types of build structures. Instead, they play with pretty much the same thing all the time. So now let's go ahead and we'll just go ahead and finish this guy off since we still have the buffs going on from it. We're going to go ahead and just drink a potion. We're going to go right into our rotation. Oops, I screwed up again. Oh, Jesus, I screwed up. Just gonna go ahead and nuke him. Alright, so 45k DPS in the end was what we were pulling with that, with tri-stat food, and we were still sustaining. Okay? Just letting you guys know. So that's what I wanted to show you with that. We're going to let the timers run out, and we will do a quick parse on the little guy. Just to see what we can pull with this on that one without any of the extra perks and benefits from the big guy. And please understand, this is just to show you what you can do with a build within the game. This is not to show you what the meta looks like. This is not to show you anything like that. This is just to show you how you can play the game with more in-game tools, like, say, ability altering weapons, trial sets, monster sets, that kind of stuff, in combination with the way I make my builds. So let's go ahead and let this run out. And again, if you are a new player and you're getting into trials, this is a good way to set up to help you learn how to play trials. Even though your DPS isn't going to be that of a competitive or whatever trial runner, you can still use setups like this and still take advantage of your character in every aspect. And I will show you guys the CP too, because I know I'm going to get that question. Somebody's going to say, what's your CP look like? In fact, we'll go ahead and go over the CP. Starting with the Ren tree, I have 56 in the Ironclad. This reduces damage taken from direct damage attacks by 20%. Over here I have 38 in the Light Armor Focus, increasing physical resistance by 3250 while wearing 5 pieces of light armor. 31 in the Thick Skin, reducing damage from damage over time effects by 13%. 43 in the Hardy, reducing damage taken from physical poison disease damage by 10%. 43 in the Elemental Defender, reducing your damage taken from Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic damage by 10%. And then moving on over here, we have 40 in the Bastion, increasing the effectiveness of your damage shields by 16%. We do have 19 in the Quick Recovery, increasing healing received by 5%. And then moving on to the Green Tree, 40 in the Warlord, reducing break free cost by 16%. 16 in the Sprinter, reducing sprint cost by 10%. 16 in the Bashing Focus, reducing bash cost by 10%. Moving on to the middle green tree, we have 75 in Arcanus. This increases mag recovery by 14%. 43 in the Mooncalf, increasing stam recovery by 10%. Moving on over here, we have 40 in the Tumbling, reducing dodge roll cost by 16%. 40 in the Shadow Ward, reducing block cost by 16%. Blue tree, 43 in the Blessed, increasing your healing done by 10%. If you notice, I didn't use any healing. Didn't need to. I'm parsing in a controlled environment. 56 in Elfborn, increasing your critical damage and critical healing with magic abilities by 20%. 56 in Elemental Expert, increasing Flame, Frost, Shock, and magic damage by 12%. Moving on over here, we have 35 in the Staff Expert, increasing your damage done with light and heavy attacks with Destruction Staff and Overload by 20%. And then we have 40 in the Master at Arms, increasing your damage done with direct damage attacks by 16%. And then 40 into Thaumaturge, increasing your damage done with damage over time by 16%. Like I said, guys, I use a standardized setup pretty much for all my CP when it comes to different builds. Like my light armor builds will all pretty much look similar. My heavy armor builds will all look pretty much similar, and my medium armor builds will pretty much all look similar in their CP. Everything else is different. So again, let's go ahead and do this one more time with this setup with the tri-stat food so we can see what our DPS is going to look like with it. Oops, messed up. $25k DPS. Pretty much just a little bit more than what we were pulling the last time, about 2k more. I could probably do better if I didn't make mistakes during that rotation, which is fine. But again, I make mistakes just like everyone will make mistakes. So But that's pretty much it for this PTS test video, guys. I just wanted to show you one of the types of builds that I do test with, because I get asked all the time, do you test with in-game trial stuff? Yes, I do. This was me showing you one of the testing aspects of it. I will be testing on other target skeletons off camera because it takes a lot longer to kill them. If you guys didn't know, this video is almost over, or a little over 30 minutes. So, but again, that is it for the video. That means you guys know what's coming next. If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.